Hey there, it's Ethan with ComTech. I wanted to take a quick moment and go over the Yealink T46S. The sheet that I am going to be going down is our help guide. You can find this at our website. If you do not have this on your desk already, there will be a link in the link below. Please click it and get the sheet. We're literally just going to go straight down the list. First thing on the list is making a phone call. To make a phone call, pick up the handset or press the speakerphone. You do not have to pick up a line. As you'll see, there are no lines here. You do not have to pick up a line. You do not have to dial 9 or 1. You just dial the 10-digit number and it makes the phone call. Ending a call, pretty self-explanatory. Hang up the handset or again press the speakerphone if you had the phone call on speakerphone. Redial and instant redial, I'll cover these together. Redial button is right here. If you press the redial button, it's going to pull up a list of recently called calls. When you press the redial button again, that's the second portion there, instant redial, it's going to automatically call the last number that you dialed. Hold and park, I like to cover these together. Hold is right here, the button's right here. If you're on an active phone call and you need to, let's say you need to go get a document or you need to go and look at something, but you want to keep kind of control of that phone call. You're only going to be putting it on hold for a moment and you are the one that's going to be coming right back to the phone call. You're going to press hold, go get whatever documents that you need, come back, press the hold button again, it'll resume the phone call. Hold is personal. The phone call stays with your phone. If you, let's say we took that same scenario, but instead of you picking the phone call back up, you're going to put the phone call on hold, or you're going to want to put it on hold, go and talk to Susie, and maybe she'll pick the phone call up. What you would do is you would put the call on park in that scenario. Imagine park being a public hold. When you have an active phone call, you're going to press park. You're going to have parks up here depending on your organization. You may have 3, 5, 1, it doesn't matter. You press the park, that is going to light up red. When that lights up red, that means you've placed the call in the parking lot. You'll call Susie or whoever you need to and say so-and-so's on park 1. They press the park button, the phone call goes to their phone, that parking lot then becomes available again. Hopefully that makes sense. Hold is personal, park is a public hold. Intercom. If you need to, let's use that same example. Susie, you need to figure out, is she in her office? So you put the call on park, you don't know where Susie's at. You don't want to ring Susie by just dialing her extension if her extension's 100. You instead just want to go straight into the speakerphone of Susie's phone and say, hey Susie, are you in there? What you're going to want to do is press *50 and then the extension. For this example, we'll say Susie's 100. We would do *50 100. That's going to go directly into Susie's phone and you're going to be able to say, Susie, are you in there? Again, that's a little bit different than just dialing the extension where it rings her phone and gives her the opportunity to answer. Transfer and transfer directly to voicemail. I'll handle these together. If you have a phone call going, you want to transfer, again, let's say to Susie at extension 100. When you have the active phone call going, you're going to press transfer. When you press transfer, you're going to dial Susie's extension, which is 100, and then you're going to press transfer again. When you hit transfer the second time, that's what sends the phone call through. So don't forget about that second transfer. Let's take that same example, and let's say we know Susie is out of the office or she's in a meeting. We don't want to actually ring her phone. We would rather send that phone call directly into Susie's voicemail. So we're going to do very similar in an active phone call, press transfer, but this time we're going to press 7 in front of her extension. So 7100, and we'll hit transfer again. We cannot forget that second transfer. When you do that, when you put a 7 in front of any extension, it actually tells the system, don't ring the phone, automatically go straight to that person's voicemail. Conference. Imagine if you're in a phone call and you're on with one other person and you guys want to conference in one other person. In an active phone call, you're going to notice you don't have a conference button. What these buttons actually do, we call these soft keys. they're going to change when you're in a phone call. So one of them is going to be CONF, which stands for conference. In the active phone call, you're going to press the conference button. You're going to get a dial tone. You're going to either dial a 10-digit number for an outside number or dial an internal extension, whether that's 3 or 4 digits. When that person picks up, you're going to press conference again. When you press conference the second time, you're actually going to see both phone calls come together on the screen, and you're going to be able to see who all is talking. You also have options in there to split the calls back out if you need to. Check in voicemail remotely. This doesn't seem to be as big of a deal anymore. A lot of our clients are sending all their voicemails directly to email. But if you're like this client right here, as you can see, they have voicemails on here. They have a message envelope at the top. That means there's voicemails on this phone. So if you're leaving your voicemails on the phone and you need to check them remotely, what you're going to want to do is call into your main number. When you get to the auto attendant, press the star key. It'll then ask you, what is your extension? You'll dial your extension and then ask you for your password, and it goes just like normal, like you would be sitting at your desk pressing the message button, and it'd be just like you're checking your voicemail from your desk. The D&D button. The D&D button is, I would say, the most calls we get as far as support goes. People call in and say, hey, my phone isn't ringing whatsoever, but for some reason I can make outbound calls just fine. D&D stands for Do Not Disturb. It's right here. When you press that button, you're going to see up at the top, you're going to see a little red circle with a light white line through it. That means your phone, if anyone transfers phone calls to you, or if your phone rings, if somebody tries to dial you, it goes straight into voicemail. So you want to make sure you turn that off when you actually want to receive phone calls. Again, it doesn't affect outbound calls. You can still pick up the handset and make outbound calls just fine. Volume is the very last thing here. Volume's down at the bottom. Your volume is what I call situational volume. Whatever your current situation is, that's what the volume changes. Example, you're on a phone call, you can't hear the person. You're going to press the up volume. The phone is sitting like it is right here. You want to change the ringer. Maybe the ringer isn't loud enough. You use the same volume button. So it just depends on what the situation is. Now, before we finish, I would like to flip over the sheet to the very back. Again, if you do not have this sheet, please look at the link below. You can grab it from there. But this sheet is going to be, it starts off with setting up my new phone. These are the steps that you, as the user, must do if you have a voicemail on your phone as far as setting it up. We strongly urge you to do this the day you get the phone, and it's very, very simple. Simply press the message button, and all the instructions are right here. Press the message button, dial 1212, that's the default password, and it's immediately going to ask you to record a name and a greeting. A greeting is just your message. When you record your name, say whatever your name is or whatever department you're in, and then just follow the prompts and then record the greeting. We recognize that not everyone's going to record it the first time. Or record it correctly the first time. So we put your options in here about how to change your voicemail password, change your voicemail name, and to change your greeting. One final thought on that greeting or the name, please record your name. Please do both. We see a lot of people skip the name because they just don't want to have their name. They just think they can just press straight through there. That works, except for if you have an auto attendant where one of the options are press so-and-so for the audio directory or for the company directory. The system uses your name, what you say, as how it figures out who you are. So if you skip that part, then you're not going to be in the company directory. So please make sure that you fill that out or make sure you say your name. With that, you're going to see at the very bottom of the sheet, you have our email address, support@comtechnc.com, or our main line, the 336-570-9409, option 1. Please reach out to us. All of our techs are trained on this sheet and on these phones specifically, and they're trained on how to kind of handle any issues that may come up. With that, I appreciate you watching.